It's November 14, 2016, and it's time to review 5 of the most outrageous, infuriating, or just plain baffling things that have happened lately or ever. It's your Facepalm 5. Let's count them down. Number 1, Donald Trump is the President-elect of the United States. Might as well start at the bottom. Last week, 60 million Americans elected Donald Trump the next President of the United States. The Chief Executive, Commander-in-Chief, and Head of State of the United States will be Donald Trump beginning in January. Not what I wanted to happen, not what I expected to happen, but I did learn a valuable lesson. Never underestimate the ability of the American people to cut off their own noses to spite their faces. But the election of Donald Trump is not the only thing I have to talk to you about. There is plenty of room at the bottom. Number 2, down-ballot Democrats failed to gain ground. Prior to the election, there was some hope that the Democratic Party would pick up a few seats in the U.S. Senate, maybe even win a slim majority. Didn't happen. So now we face at least 2 years of President Donald Trump governing alongside a Republican-controlled Senate and House of Representatives. That is 2 years for Trump to, for instance, nominate Supreme Court justices in the face of no significant political opposition. Affirmative action, the right to an abortion, voting rights, marriage equality, the Affordable Care Act. These are just a few of the reforms and rights that will be threatened in the coming months and years. People will suffer and people will die. And actually, some folks aren't even waiting for Inauguration Day. Number 3, the Trump effect has already begun. The election of a white supremacist to the presidency seems to have emboldened other white supremacists throughout the country. Who saw that coming? The morning after the election, some residents of Philadelphia awoke to find their cars or buildings had been spray painted with racist pro-Trump messages. One storefront had been tagged with a swastika and the words Trump Sieg Heil 2016. And these are just a few examples of the acts of vandalism, harassment, and even worse that followed the election of Donald Trump. And these likely represent only the beginning. If the aftermath of the UK's Brexit vote is any indication, we can expect to see hate crimes targeted at groups that were vilified by the Trump campaign, blacks, Latinx, Muslims, to be on the rise in a big way. And as a white person myself, it makes me very sad to have to say, number 4, it's white people's fault. An estimated 81% of people who voted for Donald Trump were white. Trump won every category of white voters surveyed except for college-educated white women who preferred Hillary Clinton by about 6 percentage points. The day after the election, I joked that between this and Brexit, we should just declare 2016 the year white people ruined everything. Some friends helpfully reminded me that actually that's pretty much every year, which I agree with, but you have to admit that us white folks really made it count this year. And campaign managers of the future learned a valuable lesson about how to attract white voters, or at least how far they can go without alienating white voters. They can push things like racism, sexism, and unhinged paranoid xenophobia, and apparently most of us will be completely fine with it. Number 5, the underprivileged will suffer for it. The day after the election, my inbox was filled with messages from friends who were genuinely afraid that they were not going to be okay following this election, that they would lose necessary health coverage, that their children would not be safe. And my experience is not a unique one. How many of you watching have felt those fears yourself since Election Day, or heard from loved ones who have? This is our country. This is the country that we have made. And in the coming years, those of us who are angered and fearful as a result of this election will have to fight oppression in ways that many people from my generation, including myself, have never had to do before. And fight we will, but the shame of it is, it's a fight that not all of us are going to survive. And if you think that's overstatement, I congratulate you, on your privilege. For the rest of us, we're past patiently waiting. It's time to start passionately smashing every expectation. That's 5. Catch you next time. Hey folks, I usually ask you at this point if you enjoyed this video, but it doesn't really seem like the best question to ask this time around. So if you found this video in some way worthwhile, please give it a like and a share and subscribe to my channel if you're not subbed already. And also please consider helping me to continue making videos like this by supporting this channel through Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/Steve Shives to become a patron of this channel for as little as $1 a month. But if you donate at a level of $5 a month or higher, you get yourself a shout out at the end of the Facepalm 5, just like these fine folks who became $5 or more patrons since the last Facepalm 5 video. Phil to Prague, thank you Phil. Anya Logan, thank you Anya, and Jason Jarman, thank you Jason. And on a personal note, Jason and I have known each other for almost 20 years. I appreciate all of my patrons more than I can tell you, but this one is especially touching to me. So thanks Jason for that. Thanks to all of you who are patrons, thanks to all of you who have supported this channel in all the ways you have, by watching, by liking, by sharing, by donating to the Patreon. I appreciate all of you now more than ever, and I thank you for watching.